Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
I gotta get on this. Right? And then
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, and today I'm excited to speak to our guest. They are the CEO of BabbleBoxx and has been a pioneer in the influencer marketing space since 2007. A passion for storytelling and brand marketing and a desire to create an innovative social media solution led our guest to create BabbleBoxx, the influencer marketing agency best known for its co-sampling and signature box solutions. BabbleBoxx currently provides a full range of integrated marketing services to brands across industries. They launched back in December of 2015. BabbleBoxx was in 2018's. They were named to Inc.'s 500 fastest growing private companies. All that to say is, Sherri Langburt, thank you so much for being here.
thank you, Phil, so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Sherri, I gave you this very nice intro with a lot of big words and fancy things and flattery, and it's all well-deserved, of course. But I would like to hear from you in your own words. Who are you and what do you do?
Who am I? Well, I'm Canadian first. I'll start with that. I've been in the influencer marketing space for more than a decade. So for career-wise, I am the CEO and founder of a company called BabbleBoxx, as you nicely put it. And we work with the brands to come up with strategies to then implement campaigns across social media, leveraging influencers.
I love that. And like you said, you kind of pioneered influencer marketing. How did you figure influence marketing was going to be a thing back in 2007?
I kind of stumbled upon it. I was working in corporate America and was spearheading some ad sales initiatives for Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers was one of the first companies that was started to talk about bloggers. And I was like, what's this? And it kind of happened by accident. I started working with by default with some of these influencers and then said, well, wait a minute, I want to do some of this stuff on my own. So came up with the idea to go launch a blog because there was no Instagram or TikTok back then, and realized very quickly I didn't know how to monetize because I think there's a unique talent. You have to be an affiliate marketer, which a lot of them were back then. And so I just started saying, well, wait a minute, let me see if I can create. And I didn't know that would be called a network, but maybe there's other people like me that if we add up all of our blogs, we're going to have substantial traffic and we can create content for brands. So it was kind of like I just built this without knowing what I was building and stumbled upon it.
Oh, I love it. I love that. That's the best thing. Just stumbling into your passion and just realize, wow, I can actually make a living out of this. So you back in 2007, I was about to say 2017. Not used to going back to those numbers. I feel like I'm still in. But back in 2007, you're starting off your journey. Did you launch other businesses, or was it just like, hey, I'm doing this blog, building up this network of fellow bloggers in the same space, same niche as me? Did that how did you what happened after that, after the building that together? How did it transform into BabbleBoxx?
So I think from 2007 to 2010, it was really just me and the blog. In 2010 to 2013 or 14 is when it was really building this network. And yes, I did have another business. I still do. I also founded Blog Meets Brand, which is a SaaS platform. It never really got to the SaaS level. It is a platform and there is some aspects, but so I built that technology in 2015. And then in 2013, we started it. And then in 2000 and end of 15 into 16 is when I came up with the idea for the boxes. And so we launched that in 2016 officially.
Ooh. And was it a difficult transition? Because you're going from building a blog to building the blog network, and then you have this little SaaS product, and now you're over here doing influencer marketing. Those are some.
It was all influencer,
Oh,
right?
it
So in 2010, I had my blog, and then I started representing all these influencers, bringing them together, doing campaigns. And so then, by 2010, Facebook was around, and Twitter was around. Now it's not Twitter, but then Instagram and Pinterest. And so we would build campaigns leveraging the influencers, and they would share across all these, create content and share it across all these channels. We built the SaaS platform to help automate some of that.
Okay.
And then the boxes was just another vehicle through which brands can reach the influencers in a more meaningful way, that was more fun and engaging. And yeah, so it all kind of ties in.
So it's just a general evolution from the first blog to where we are today with the SaaS business just on the side there helping out. Oh, I love that. I love that evolution of where you started to where you are today. Was it difficult with the growth?
I think what's difficult, obviously in the early stages, no one wants to talk to you, right? I didn't go for VC funding, and I did this on myself and by myself, and no one knew who I was. So that's challenging. And I think the hardest part that I hear from entrepreneurs is you're by yourself, right? Like, it's like all your ideas are in your head, and you're just kind of doing a lot of things alone. So is this a good idea? Is it not a good idea? Even like, copy that you want to write to a sponsor, like there's no one that you could sound things off of. Lucky for me, I had, one of my best friends was my boss from Weight Watchers. So he was like, still to this day, Jonathan, do you think this is a good idea? Like constantly calling him. So, but I think that the hardest thing is not having like that team of people. Now I have an amazing team. I love my team. But I think that's a really hard thing in the beginning.
When you were building your team, what was it like hiring your first full-time employee?
So scary. I think I was pregnant when I met her. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I don't know if the timing is right, but I'm about to have a baby. I think I was like 8.5, 9 months pregnant. And I just didn't know. I didn't know if it was if we needed someone. But I liked selling, and I needed someone who could manage the campaigns. And that takes another type of personality. When I say selling, I like coming up with the ideas for campaigns and the creative but finding the influencers and vetting them and contracting them is a whole different side of the business. So I knew I needed to build both sides, right? Kind of coming up with the ideas and strategies, and then the team that would. So it was exciting. And she actually stayed with me for 10 years. Yeah, she recently, about 1.5 years ago, she left to move on, but 10 years we were together. It was amazing.
Dang, that is a testament to how great of a company or how great of a boss you are. If someone's willing to stay with you at the early stages, like one of your first hires, all the way 10 years later. I'm a little jealous that you guys have that, and hopefully it was a great amicable split in that, and you're still friends. Do you feel that you found your passion? Like this is what your drive that you want to do for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I mean, I love what I do. I say every morning I'm so lucky, and I feel like I say this all the time. I work at Disneyland because every day I get to be creative. So my dream was to be a writer. And so growing up, my parents were very traditional. Like, you can't be a writer. Like, you're not going to support yourself. So, I had to go to school, college, and then wrote tech manuals and was in technology and built banking software. And it was really boring. So, being able to do this is almost like I'm vicariously a writer, or a creator through the influencers, and then get to work with the brands in all different industries and get to be creative. And I think at the end of the day, being creative is what I needed to find to do.
Oh, I love that. I like that. And it's true. You get to be like you said, you're good at selling or building the campaigns, and that the action part, which I think a lot of entrepreneurs tend to have a difficulty, is that action bit, because we're creative. We may not be able to draw, we may not be able to film, but we can create ideas and we can
Yeah.
verbalize them, at least, so that we can find the right person that can take the action steps for us, and make us not sound too crazy. In your journey, because you're an OG. You've been in this business since 2007 at a minimum, and understanding and seeing it grow, the influencer marketing grow. What memory? Yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay. We love puppies here at the Invest in Yourself Digital Entrepreneur Dogs are the best. We don't deserve them, in my personal opinion, because they're so kind. But do you have a memory that keeps you going on those nights where, like, this is the worst day of my life? Like, it could be a memory that you were able to succeed or that you got for one of your clients, customers, or influencers.
I don't think there's a specific memory. It's just how I grew up. My family, my parents, they're immigrants. They survived the war. And I think whatever it takes to make them proud, and I think I'm crying. I think for them, knowing that I'm going to be okay. So being able to take care of myself and making them proud is what makes me go through those nights.
Oh, I like that. That's a great answer. Also, like, were your parents worried for you when you decided to venture off the secure path, if you will?
Well, I think the worry started when I decided to leave Montreal and move to New York. So I put them on their toes for many years. I don't think that was traditional back then. I think that the normal thing to do would be to stay in corporate America and see if this would work. But I just wanted to move on. And I think they were worried. I don't think that they ever thought, not that they doubted me, but this whole world of what I do, if I asked my parents, what do? I don't think they would know how to answer the question. So I think that there's always worry. And as they say, like, you're always worried about your children, no matter what age they are or what they're doing.
I like that. Where do you see yourself moving in the next 5 to 10 years with BabbleBoxx?
I mean, obviously staying where we are and continuing to grow within what we're currently doing. There's so much opportunity with social and influencer, right? TikTok Shop now is massive, but there's other things that we could do that are tangential to the business, right? Merch, a product line is something that I would love to do. Teaching and education for influencers is another side of the business, not exactly what we're doing. Right now, the focus is just on this business and offering our clients new opportunities, new solutions, and seeing, like, we cover all different industries, but, is there an opportunity to be more international? Like, so those are some of the things that we look at.
Oh, I like that. What lesson have you learned in your journey so far that really stuck with you and surprised you?
I think that it takes time. And I remember being on calls with my father and just being like, it's not going to work, or I'm giving up, or this isn't working. And he would always remind me, like, 2 years ago, you didn't have this, and you've grown this much, and 3 years ago, and 5 years ago. And, that panic or that fear, I think I think people think when you see these shows like Shark Tank, which is amazing, everyone says it doesn't happen overnight, and you can't expect it to happen overnight. I certainly don't. But you have to give the universe the chance to, like, let it happen.
Oh, and what's really nice is you're echoing with the patience and let the universe come to you. A former guest that I just finished interviewing just moments before we jumped on, talking about how you have to be show gratitude to the universe for what it provides you, because it provides you with what you need. So I really like that kind of, like, very symbiotic, I guess you could say, flow of the talking about the universe. We're going to be moving into more educating our audience here. We learned about you. We have an idea about what you do. I'm wondering, with your business, if I'm a business looking to hire my first influencer to do a marketing package or campaign.
Promotion.
There we go. Thank you. As a podcaster, you think I would know words. Still learning them apparently. What should I be looking into? Like, what are some of maybe the first steps I should take before I just hire, the guy who has 10,000 followers on Instagram?
Well, I think you have to look at the types of influencers you want, right? I think you have to look at the category. So, the engagement of the influencer, you have to make sure the influencer has the right tone, and there's nothing non-safe about the influencer. If you're a kid brand and you're all of a sudden working with an influencer who's cursing, so some of the things that to me are like, oh, okay, but if you're new and you never did this, so the size of the influencer, the vertical, the content, the safety. I think you have to also look at the channel. Everyone's all hyped up, and I love TikTok, but if you're targeting people who are really into home decor, Pinterest might be the place for you. Like, don't just listen to, if you, also what type of asset they're creating. Like, is video going to perform better than static content? Do you need a mix? So I think there's a lot of variables that come into play. And I think people, the misconception is, oh, it's so easy. But when you start to tell people, okay, answer these 10, 15 questions that are just the basics without even digging, it's like, oh, there's a lot of things to think about, like what channel, and we could help with that. But I think if you're doing it on your own, like, you have to really think about where is your consumer, who's the best person, what's the best format of content. I mean, podcast is the number one converter of consumers, right? No one knows that. So few people probably do any advertising on podcasts, but it is a top performing social media platform.
I didn't want to say it, but thank you. Yes, no, it is. I like that, and that's some like great piece of advice, because like someone like myself who's never done influencer marketing wouldn't know even the first step to go, and I would say, oh, TikTok, there, let's just put money into TikTok. But knowing all that, the verticals and all these subjects that should be taken into account. And that's why it's awesome to have people like yourself who've already done most of the hard work for us and can guide us into the proper place. Is managing a team what you expected it to be?
I treat my team, they become like my family. I don't know if that's good or bad. I feel like I have to, if someone's going to be with me, they have to be protected every step of the way. I'm probably too emotional about it, but that's me as a person. So it's extremely rewarding. And I think we just have a fantastic team, but it's a lot, right? You're every day is like, sometimes I'm like, how do I get my work done when you're managing this? It's not the team, it's the team and the tasks, right? Like, yeah. So there's a lot.
And the tools that you use to manage both your team, your influencers, the workload that you have, obviously, I'm guessing over time it's evolved from a patchwork of tools to more of a certain. What is your tech stack, if you don't mind me asking?
So our team communicates very old style, old school. We use not Slack, we use Skype. Yeah. We are on Skype all day long. I wish I could share my screen with you, but there's different chats. And because we found that Slack moved messages beyond and we couldn't. And so we have been on Skype, and we are on Skype. There's, one of my right-hand guy is in Spain, 6, 7, 8 in the morning. He's writing me and I'm writing back. So it starts really early, and then people could be writing at, I try to tell people you don't have to work past 5 or 6 o'clock, and then 8 o'clock someone's Skyping me. So we're on Skype for internal. What's interesting is we just had an assessment of our business, and they were like, for a virtual company, the culture is so incredible that the fact that you just use Skype. Mm-hmm. We use Zoom. We have Zoom calls every day, a team call, and other subset calls. For the influencers, we have our own. As I said, we have different platforms that we built that we use to manage the influencers, then manage the campaigns and all the performance of the campaigns and the communications. So that's really, yeah.
Very simple tech stack. I love it, and I love that. Like, keeping it simple is the best way. What was it like for you when you found out that you were named to Inc.'s 500 fastest growing company in 2018?
Well, I applied because someone told me to apply, because I had never really, I did PR when I first started, but when I launched the business, I didn't do, and I still don't do much PR. And so I was excited to be part of it, but and again, I say this with, just being proud, it was 5,000, but then they called me and they're like, but you're in the 500. So I'm going to start crying. Like, we were like, who am I? Right. Like, a woman with that, a Montreal or like in New York or New Jersey. And they're like, you're not just in the 5,000 you made. So again, you go back to your parents and what am I doing everything for? It's to make my parents proud of me. So to be able to tell your parents that happened, that they understood,
I love that. I went from, I applied for the 5,000 and then they're like, no, you're the 500. Wow. And also, like you said, I'm a Montrealer. What am I doing being on Fortune 500s, or Inc. Sorry, not Fortune, Inc.'s 500 list of fastest growing companies?
Because I don't think people get, like, in Montreal, you're kind of just like, oh, like, what's like, I don't know. And then it was like, this kind of happened. So it's kind of crazy.
We're humble people when it doesn't come to our hockey team. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
When it comes to our hockey team, we can't help but gloat about Les Glorieux. But yeah, I find it the same thing, because I, like, when I'm sitting interviewing some people, I'm like, how is it that a kid from Montreal, and I say kid because I still think of myself as a child, from Montreal is interviewing these people who have generated either like billions of dollars or have talked with these amazing people. And I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
You're pinching yourself every 2 seconds. Right. Do you find yourself like you're sitting down sometimes having to pinch yourself at moments in your life?
So I have an addiction, which anyone who knows me knows, to these candies that grandmothers eat. They're called Werthers. So everyone, for 25 years, I've been eating Werthers. I eat that. It's my thing. And so we just got Werthers to do these custom boxes for Werthers. So when things like that happen, you're just like, oh my God, like that just is like, again, like, you're just like, how did that happen? But those are the kind of things that I'm just like pinching. And it sounds silly, but it resonates with me,
I was like, before you said like we got to do boxes with Werthers, I'm like, did you get to work with them? Because that would have been like, oh my God, end of the world.
Yeah, so they're coming out with a caramel dip and a caramel sauce. So we got the caramel dips and the caramel sauces, and the boxes will go out to influencers in a few weeks.
Oh, I'm excited to see those campaigns. I'm a fan of Werthers. It's like my maternal grandfather used to have them in a little bowl by the door. Right. So whenever we go over, right, we come home, before we leave, we would grab them. So like, yeah,
everyone's grandparents has them.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's the grandparent treat.
Right.
What I'm like, I'm lost for words here. I'm just I'm jealous that you got to work with Werthers. Is when you had to move up, when you went from having to do most of all the stuff into more of a leadership role, what were some of the things that you missed, and what are some of the things that you were glad to get off your plate?
I'm glad to get off my plate anything that requires operations, reading through HR manuals, dealing with health insurance. I guess that's HR. I miss more having all day long to think of people to call and to write and to share ideas with. Because in the middle now is like, oh, there's fires to put out and there's things to, fix and, questions to answer. But what I like the best is like finding new brands and partners and being able to talk about this industry. And so I can't do that all day.
Do you want to get back to that? Would you give up everything and just go back to?
No, because I love my team. I love them. They're awesome.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
We're coming up to near the end of the episode, which of course I hate because you're a fellow Canadian, a fellow Montrealer. And we probably can talk for hours about everything, but we do need to skip along, as they say. I'm snapping my fingers. I have your 10-year-old self. She's right here beside me. She's a firecracker. What's one piece of advice that you're giving to your 10-year-old self?
I would say to believe in yourself and you're gonna be okay.
I like that. It's very simple, straight to the point, and I think more of us need to hear that. Thank you for that, Sherri.
Thank you.
Great piece of advice. I'm like I'm dumbstruck by how great the advice is from the entrepreneurs to their younger self, and I'm making this for my nephew when he turns 10. Have all this advice for him.
Oh, that's
Smarter, not harder. That's what we do. But Sherri, I'm going to jump off the screen here. I'm going to give you the last little bit. Please let my audience know where they can follow you, where they can talk with you, how they can apply to be an influencer if they've gotten that size audience. So the floor is yours.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Thank you. You could find BabbleBoxx on any channel, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's BabbleBoxx. Some channels, it's BabbleBoxx Official. And it's BabbleBoxx with 2 X's. You could reach out, whether you're a marketer, a brand, or an influencer, or someone who's looking for a new career path, wants a new job. We're team@BabbleBoxx.com. And again, it's BabbleBoxx with 2 X's. And always here to help answer questions, formulate ideas, share insights. So feel free to reach out anytime.
Sherri, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. I love supporting female entrepreneurs, but more importantly, a fellow Montrealer, definitely going to be promoting.
Go Habs.
Go Habs. There we go. Yes. Love it. So I thank you so much for coming on the show and talking with me today.
Thank you. Nice to connect.
And to my audience, it's a pleasure to connect. And I always forget that. I always jump into the end before saying thank you, and it's a pleasure to connect. To my audience, check out the show notes. Connect with BabbleBoxx. Connect with Sherri. Learn all you can. Join with it, because you never know. Maybe you can be their next influencer, or may use them for your next brand deal, next deal that you need to promote. I thank you so much for listening, and remember to always invest in yourself.